Welcome to Lone Star Live, the #1 place for all things real estate in Texas. Host John Silva is a 20-year veteran of the rough and tumble up and down world of real estate. He's helped thousands of families find and move into their dream homes. John's considered an expert on everything from first-time home buying to luxury homes and even veteran buyers. Join us as we take a look at market trends, what's hot and what's not, what to do, and just as important, what not to do during the home buying process. We'll showcase the top echelon of realtors, builders, and real estate professionals in the industry to help you, our valued viewers, with the best information and guidance available. This gives you the edge in getting your house sold for the highest offer or getting your offer accepted on the house of your dreams. Wherever you are in the home buying process, Lone Star Live can help, so thank you for tuning in as we help you into your new home.
Hello everybody, welcome again to another edition of Lone Star Live. I'm your host, John Silva, owner of Mortgage Empire as well. Joining me today are three beautiful ladies, good friends of mine as well. From my right here, Gaby Duran, Salinas, Desirae Cruz. Each of them are experts in the field of real estate. Gaby and her husband own a real estate company as well. Duran and Company. Right?
Duran and Co Realty.
Mm-hmm. Right. And they also are a builder, correct?
Correct.
Salinas is one of the top realtors with your
Texas Connect Realty.
What's that again?
Texas Connect.
Texas Connect Realty, right? Who Josue is the broker owner, and Desirae Cruz is also a broker owner of her own Su Casa brokerage, correct?
Su Casa Realty.
Su Casa Realty, right? And all of them are in Fort Worth, am I correct?
Yes.
Okay, I've known this some time now, and they're also a part of NAHREP Fort Worth chapter,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
We're familiar there. So for those of you who don't know, NAHREP, National Association of Hispanic Real Estate Professionals, is an organization that is very dear to my heart and their heart as well, and it focuses on promoting generational wealth, especially among Latinos, right? I think we want to advance our culture, our people. We realize that how we do that is through education. We do that by empowering our community and overcoming obstacles. And we realize that most of the people in the United States that create generational wealth are homeowners. It starts with that. We really want to enhance that relationship. So today we're gathered to here as part of my ongoing, if you will, soapbox to really promote things that are happening in the Lone Star State. I always tell you guys, if you want to know anything what's going on in the real estate market, you reach out to me. You want to meet the top agents. You want to get the most important information for social events that are happening in real estate that affect you and your family, just reach out to me. We're going to be going deeper and deeper each and every month to bring you things that are important to you and your family, whether you're thinking about buying or selling, is now the right time, or I heard this, I heard that. And what's going on in the market today with the rates being so high, with property values going through the roof. A lot of people are scared. There's no other way to put it, right? A lot of people, there's a lot of misinformation. So when I met with these ladies earlier, that was the goal before I invited them on. I want to dispel those myths. There's too much misinformation going on in the market today. Everyone says, well, I heard this, I heard that, or you know what? It's too expensive for me. So I'm gonna just go over a couple of 5 myths. There's actually a lot more, right? But I want to focus on just 5 myths that are going on that I've been hearing all the time. And I would love to get your feedback on that, okay? One of them, the first one I want to talk about is, John, I've been told that I have to have 20% down to buy my first house. Agree or disagree?
Disagree.
Okay, so why?
Next.
No.
Well, I just, there's different loans for everybody.
Right.
You can do 20% down if you want to, and for whatever reasons that you want to, but there's also programs that are 3.5% down. There's some that require no percent down. So I think it just depends on the person, their situation, and the programs that are available at the time for that person.
Good. Anything to add, ladies?
I think the same thing, like she said, there's a lot of first-time home buyer situations where people can go. I think it's just about like applying and then and letting the lender kind of direct them in what's best for them.
I have a saying, a motto, if you will. Especially, I think everyone should have the right to own a home. You just might not be ready yet.
Yeah.
And that's our job, to work together. Whenever I work with any of my agents, I always tell them, I'm going to get your clients ready. Because they don't know yet. They're not the experts. We're the experts.
Yeah.
You're the real estate experts. I'm the lending expert. And you're right. There's many loans you have to qualify for. But I need 20% down. Well, who told you that? My tia. No. That's not true. There's programs specifically, VA. I'm a veteran. 0 down for a veteran. That's incredible. 2, USDA loans. United States Department of Agriculture offers a loan in certain areas that if you buy in that area, it's 0% down. There's no down payment requirement. FHA, minimum 3.5%, one of the best programs. And even when rates are high, people used to say, well, you got to go conventional. It's a different program. But FHA right now, hopefully you guys agree with me, is a great tool to get people in there. 3.5% down can be a gift, and I haven't even talked about grants. There's so many grants outside. A grant typically is not a loan. It's considered assistance by either an entity, an institution, a county, a city, and you can use and apply that for your down payment, for your closing costs. And from what I hear, some of the cities have some great ones, right? And we have to participate with those. And I know you guys at NAHREP and at your own companies, you really promote that as well, because it's an assistance that helps people. And some people use that negative word, oh, I need assistance. No. That's fine. It's available to everybody. You just got to qualify for it. And there's one called T-Shack for it's grateful. And now for a family of 4, I just read it today, if you make $128,000 in the combined 4, you qualify for the assistance up to 5% down. And that typically coupled with, like, if I offer a credit to the buyer, seller concessions, where we're seeing a lot, where we're actually buying down the rate with a 2-1 buy down, we're getting them in rates as low as 5%. So it's always an option that to overcome these untruths, if you will, that you need to speak to one of us. You speak to a professional, somebody that knows what you're doing. Don't go on the internet, because you're going to find all different things, right? There's also a thing, if it's too good to be true, it's too good. Oh, I found a 1% rate. Yeah, no. So hopefully you agree with me on that. Another myth, let's see here. It's cheaper to rent than to own. What do you guys think? Cindy?
No, not true.
Okay.
Right now, I have this one listing that we have it for sale and for lease. And to lease, it's a little higher because it's a bigger risk for the landlord, to have to put up with it and everything. He'd rather just liquidate it, so.
Okay.
It's 100% interest if you lease.
Right.
So it's going to always cost you more at the end.
Yeah, same exact thing. I think that a lot of times you're covering somebody else's mortgage and
That's right.
and leasing. So
And these are cliches. If you're not people say, well, you're paying someone's mortgage, just not your own.
Yeah, correct.
You're paying the landlord's mortgage, and you don't get any of the benefits. We talked about generational wealth. There's properties in Dallas that I can literally say that I've done loans for families. Bishop Arch, for example, Oak Cliffs, there are certain parts, and they lived in these houses, very humble beginnings. They bought that house maybe for $80,000, and they literally went and sold them for close to $300,000 or more. So they have all this equity they built up in 15 years. You'll never have equity whenever you rent.
Yeah.
Right.
And equity, for those of you who don't know, is whenever you buy a home, it's an investment. Yes, it's your home. We want it to be your home. Enjoy it, love it. But it's also going to appreciate in value. It's an investment. That's how you create wealth. The benefits far exceed all the negatives. Because if you rent a house, even if you rent a house or an apartment, you're never going to appraise. That rent can go up at any time. And rents are going through the roof. The average rents in an okay part of Dallas with a 1-bedroom, and we're in a nice part of Dallas, by the way, as long as you see outside, could be at least for a 1-bedroom here in Addison is about $1,500. That's just the rent, not including everything else. There's other things. You can afford more with a house. You get more on the investment equity. I'm not an accountant or a lawyer, but there are benefits as far as deductions on your home. Your interest rate is deductible. Your taxes are deductible, depending on your bracket. But those are the benefits that a lot of people don't know that. So again, we're trying to focus on the generational wealth aspect of it. Yeah. There's people that I know that have bought their house humbly. They paid it off in 5 years, and they're buying more houses. And now their family, their sons, their daughters, they're focused on, you know what, I want to do that as well. I know we're really focused, that's the American dream. I think it's a human dream to own your own home.
Yeah.
I mean, I've been around the world in many places, and they all value home ownership. It's their little piece of land, right? So I think we just really made it our own, call it the American dream, right? I think the American dream should be get into the home and keep your home.
Yes.
Okay, all right. All right, now one of the other top 3 myths, John, I heard I have to have 0 debt.
No, I mean, there's a percentage of debt to income ratio that exists because you have, I mean, everybody has some kind of debt.
Right.
The bank wants you to have debt. They want to know that you know how to manage that.
That's right, absolutely. So there's a thing called a debt to income ratio. Every loan that is offered by any lender, myself, anybody, any bank, big names, I won't name the competition, but you know, big names, they have rules. Everything has a rule. And these loans are sold to quasi-government entities called Fannie Mae or Freddie Mac. FHA is actually part of the government as well, or the VA. And they have rules, which means we want to look at your history of payment. And debt to income ratio says, we're going to give you this loan, but we have to make sure that based on your income, based on the new house payment, right, you can afford, according to what we believe, right, there's a debt to income percentile that says if all of the mortgage payment plus all of your other debts is higher than say 50%, that's too risky. And that's gross income, not after taxes or anything, take home pay. So it's just designed, like I said, well, I don't want anyone telling me what I can afford and what I can't. Well, that's actually the opposite. We have to do that because these are the rules that are set before us, before you can buy a home. And before I ever get anyone, whenever you guys refer me a client, I have to make sure they're pre-approved, 100%, right? So I want to make sure not only is it a good thing, because that way I don't ever want to make a bad loan. Just because the client may qualify, I can say, you know what, you qualify, but you're almost at a 50% debt to income ratio. That's a lot. And I actually have to consult them because it's not about a number to me. It's about I'm invested in that client's future. And again, I don't want to do a bad loan that down the line, well, I heard they went bankrupt and they had to foreclose. That's worse. That's the worst thing I could ever hear in my life. You know, would you guys agree? That's terrible. So you want to be vested in that client. So I explained to them, hey, that's the debt to income ratio. You don't have to have 0 debt. As long as it's comfortable to you, you qualify, and it makes sense to you. And then once you're accepted, fine. Okay. So, but a lot of people don't know that word. Sounds, what's debt to income ratio? We have to break it down for them. Just the government, this is not the government. The bank wants to make sure that you can be able to maintain that debt. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. All right. Though this one kind of ties in to the 0 debt thing. Perfect credit. I have to have perfect credit, John, to buy a house. I've been told I have to have a 700 credit score. What have you guys been hearing on the streets about that? Any customers of yours?
580 is the minimum now?
Say again?
580?
Well, actually, there's 580 is a minimum for FHA, but there's rules to that. Okay, so that's a manual underwrite, and there's some banks don't allow a manual underwrite.
A lot of overlays. Yeah.
Right, there's a lot of overlays. Overlays are what the bank says, you know what, I still think it's too risky. We're going to settle for a 620. 620, in my opinion, is a little bit nicer. You get a better rate. Now, we can do a 580 loan, but the lower your credit score, the higher the interest rate. For customers who don't know, your interest rate is based on your history of your credit score. We use three bureaus, Equifax, TransUnion, and Experian. I'm going to go ahead and say it right now. Credit Karma, do not use. People think that it's the best thing ever, but it's the worst. It's not acceptable to any lending institution out there. And usually it's the opposite. Whenever I run a credit score, someone says, John, I have a 700 credit score. Well, how do you hear about it? Credit Karma. I ran the report. No, you got a 520.
Yeah.
So it's my job, along with y'all's, is like tell them the truth, guide them in their process of buying a home, dispelling the myths one by one, right? But educating them so that they can move on to the next step. The credit history for an individual, whether they have, first of all, if you don't have any credit established, some people are coming over from Venezuela, from other parts of the country, and they're like, buy cash everything.
Right.
And I have to tell them, you need to establish credit somehow. Even if it's a small payment, don't go buy a new truck and pay $1,000 a month for a truck. Don't do that, right? But start slow, 2 credit cards, a little small revolving debt, enough to where you to manage, because that will, in a year, actually even quicker, establish your credit score. The credit history is basically how you pay a loan on time, and that coupled with your down payment will determine the best interest rate you can obtain. And that varies for everybody. That varies depending on your credit score. I've seen some that are as high as 820, believe it or not. And I've seen some really, really low ones that are like, wow, okay, we got some work to do. Okay?
I think it's just important that if people feel that way, that they don't get discouraged.
Right.
It's not that they can't buy a house; they just can't buy it now.
That's right.
And they just need to keep asking until they ask the right person that is willing to
Guide them through
help
it.
them.
That's right.
Because a lot of lenders or a lot of realtors, they see that they're a 560 or whatnot, and that's where they stop. Versus it could be just something so minor that's affecting their credit.
Right. That's it. We have a path to home ownership program where again, they have to be willing to do it. It's a mini boot camp that we talk about, and everybody's different. I want to focus on, okay, like you said, after I run the report, this is what we need to do to get you to where you need to be. If you follow my advice, this is where it's going to be. So, it took you a while to get into that debt, right? So we're going to try and get you better. But I think that to me, whenever we do that as a group, a realtor, a lender, that makes our work, our environment sound alive. Because you always hear this horse, oh, I heard this guy, lenders lied to me. This realtor just ignored me. And when you hear that, you're like, that hurts a little bit. You know what I mean? So you want to be on the good side of that. But I 100% agree with you. You want to make sure that, going back to what I said, I think everybody should be able to buy. They're just not be able to buy right now. It's our job to get them to that next stage. Okay?
Well, and I think too, like with the credit and the debt to income, it's good to get with a good lender and see, okay, this is where I'm at. Because a lot of times people try to do it themselves. Oh, I'm going to work on my credit myself. I'm going to work on my debt myself. And sometimes they might be focusing on things that really don't matter as much.
That's right.
And so if you get with the lender and they review everything, it's easy. They're like, oh no, like let's work on these things. And it's easier to focus on those things when they were completely off of what is really going to get them to that next level.
Speaking my language.
Yeah.
That's what I was like, I'm pre-approval. Why?
Yeah.
Because I'm not going to send somebody back to y'all who can't afford a home right now, who's not ready. I have a thing. I think people really focus on the prize, the house.
Yeah.
And that's what they really, really focus. But I go, well, we got to make sure you're ready, on all aspects, your credit, your income, your capacity, your down payment. All those things are important that we're going to look at. Your residency status. Those are things that are coming up more and more, right? So I want to make sure that that's taken care of for every one of our clients. Okie dokie. And the final one. This is funny. All lenders are the same. You actually led into that. So again, there are some bad lenders. It's like there's in any industry, you're going to find good people and bad people. I think that your longevity in the business talks a lot about who you are, who you associate yourself with. Get with, like Desirae said, get with somebody that you trust. That's the key word. Somebody that's going to be explaining everything to you. Listening to you is very important. I think that a lot of us, because we're the pros, sometimes we just we just spill information. It's very important to listen to the client. Buying a home is an emotional need, and very emotional. You don't know what's going on in their lives, whether they're going through a divorce, having a baby, relocating from another part of the state to Texas. We have so many relocations now. It's emotional. You're going through a move right now, right?
Yes.
And it's a pain.
To say the least.
And you
in this Texas heat.
So, and that's the other part. So I always tell my staff, it's like, look, we need to make sure we treat every client with kid gloves, because we don't know what they're going through. We need to make sure that we take the lending part off of them, so that it's a smooth process. It's a good process, right? Because I want them to brag about y'all at the closing table and brag about us. And that's how every one of my staff works. Like, I want them to really brag about that, because how many times there's two ways to get to closing: with a big old smile on your face or with your hair on fire. Which would you prefer? See, which would you prefer? I got you to closing, but all that stress will kill you.
You don't even want to go to the closing table.
That's right. Because and that's another misconception because of what they hear. Oh, I heard the lending process is so hard. Not if you work with the right individual.
Yeah.
And it's all about education. It's all about understanding what the client's needs, where they are now, and where they need to be. Because I'm going to get with y'all and find out, okay, what's the number one question you ask the lender typically whenever you have a client? What can they afford? Or did you tell me? What are the questions that you ask?
The number one question that I ask the lender, I wouldn't necessarily say how much can they afford. It's more what is available for them. And as far as like monthly payment, to me, monthly payment is more important to me than the house price.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
What do y'all think? What do y'all ask the lender?
Like, just how far into the pre-approval process have you gotten with this client? Are they just pre-qualified, or have you verified assets? Have you, like, how far into it? Because that way I know how aggressive I can be with my offer for their house, that kind of thing.
Okay.
And kind of piggybacking on them is just like, once all of that is established, have you gone over what their down payment is? Are they prepared for it? Do they know are they okay with it?
Right.
And monthly payment, like, have you gone over that? Because a lot of times we're looking at houses for this amount and they don't even know, oh, well, how much is my payment going to be? I'm like, oh, okay, well, let's discuss that. I thought we had already,
Your
established.
lender, he or she would have done her job.
Yeah.
The client should know. And whenever I get a referral, one of my agents, I ask them, like, well, they never showed me my closing costs. They never gave me the estimate, the payment shot, right? And you hit on something really good, Cindy, is there's a difference between pre-qual and a pre-approval, right? So that's my world, so I'm going to go, if you don't allow me to say it. A pre-qualification is you tell me your credit, your income, your down payment, and what you can afford, and I'll take your word for it.
Right.
That means nothing. I hate to say that, but it's true. It's not worth if somebody gives you a pre-qualification letter, it's not worth the paper it's written on. A pre-approval is the next stage where it's basically pre-underwritten, where we actually verify credit, income, assets, residency, necessary. All those things come into play, right? So we verify based on what the client's goals are, that they want a house or they want to end up with a payment that's $2,500 a month. Well, how am I going to make sure that you can afford that? I'm going to verify your income. I'm going to look at your credit score. I'm going to show it to you to see what we need to get there, right? Look at the assets. Well, you need this much money to buy the house to end up with that payment. I got to make sure you have the money, as opposed to, I'll get it, because I hear that a lot. Don't worry about it, I'll get it. I go, no, we can't do that. We have to show the money in advance, right? So those are the things that whenever any consumer is out there and they're focusing on the real quick answer, it doesn't work that way. If you're working with the right lender, the right realtors, they're going to ensure that you get a pre-approved letter. Did they verify all this information? Did they sit down with you? I always take it to heart where a lot of mi gente like to meet in person. They still do. It's I don't know why, it's cool. I make it available to them. We need to meet in person, we will. Some of them more advanced, they want to do everything online. Perfectly okay. But one of the things I always guarantee that my staff and I do, we'll take the phone and we'll take the application in person, over the phone, or with the client. We never just give them a link, because to the consumer, it's real simple, whatever. I want to hear what the client is talking about. I'm the expert. I can hear. It's like when you go to a listing presentation, you know what to listen to, right? What some of the things, the questions you ask for, correct? No one can do that job better than y'all when you guys are qualifying the seller of a home, correct? So those are the things that I need to do, that my team is trained to do, to make sure that whenever we have that client there, we cover everything from A to Z, so that A, the experience is great, but B, they know exactly what they're getting themselves into. Too many people nowadays, and in the past, we just got to look at our history, get into houses that they couldn't afford. Well, we have to look back at 2008, not that long ago, to be perfectly honest, right? So those are the things that combined with working with the top agents like yourselves, my team ensures that we capitalize on what are we doing, are we overcoming? And I understand you guys have like home buying seminars as well, correct? We do that. So one of the things we do with through the chapter, the NAHREP chapter, you guys are doing that continuously, and through your all individuals, corporations, and companies. Am I correct?
Yes.
Good. So I want to finish up. Now, your title, all of you are part of chapter for NAHREP, correct? Fort Worth chapter. So forgive me if I'm wrong. Gabby, you're the president right now. The Fort Worth.
I'm just
Cindy, excuse me. Cindy's president.
You saw me, yeah.
Yes, Cindy. Yeah. Correct?
Yes.
That's it.
And Desirae is the educational director?
Yes.
Okay. And Gabby's a sponsorship director.
Yes.
Well, Gabby's jack of all trades. She's on the
It
board
doesn't
of
say that on the
directors.
website.
No, I know.
That wasn't an official
we
title.
gave her the title of sponsorship, but she kind of helps out with
Okay.
everything. So
Yes.
So what we're talking about, I would love to hear more about NAHREP, what you guys are seeing for your chapter. You can only speak for your chapter if you want, right? But what are you seeing that ties into this? Because you guys are really, you service all of DFW, but you really are do a lot. You're a specialist in Fort Worth. Is that fair to say?
right.
Yes.
Okay. What are you guys seeing for our whether demographically speaking, our people are buying more, buying less? What are you guys seeing one by one? Tell me what you're seeing.
I see that our people are still buying. I feel like, especially within our Hispanic community, they 100% just trust us to guide them 100% of the way. So if we tell them, hey, it's okay for you to buy, we're going to guide you through this. Whenever it's time to refinance, we're going to reach back out to you. They trust in us 100%. And I think that any time that question comes up, is it okay for us to buy? Is it okay for us to sell? It's just going to depend on that person and what they're going through in their life at the moment, if it is or if it's not. And I think it's very important that we're 100% honest with them.
Good.
Yeah.
So NAHREP, whenever I first became licensed, NAHREP was one of the very first nonprofit organizations that I immediately dove into because I really like the platform of educating those lenders, title companies, insurance agents, realtors, how to do things the right way for our people, and then they go and they touch more people that way. So I love that platform, and then I love being able to connect with those lenders, title companies, and know exactly who I can send my client to and know that they're going to be taken care of. So my client needs, an I-10 loan product. I know exactly who to send them to
Right.
based on their personality and how they work. Do they need a lot of hand holding? Okay, I know this person will be,
Right.
and NAHREP really puts all of us together so we get to know those people
Right.
on a really personal basis, and so that way we can help our community better.
Great.
That's what I
Great.
like.
Is there?
Same thing too with NAHREP. I when got on, I was like, Cindy, why are you doing this? I already have a full schedule. Why am I gonna, whatever. But it is a good networking thing. It is a good meeting different people to help better serve your clients. And our people still buying, absolutely. I think that everybody's been really busy, and the good thing too is I feel like there's a lot more programs that help a lot of our people.
Are
get
you
more
seeing
finance.
more new construction purchases or resale? Because I know inventory is still really, really low in resale market compared to new home starts. And that's driving a lot of people, based on my math and what we've been seeing, to the new home construction.
I think it's just easier to buy a brand new home. I mean, who doesn't like a shiny new toy, and it comes with all the warranties. And I think it's half and half. I mean, I think my last few deals have all been resale. I had one new construction in the last 3 months.
Good.
So
I think it's just whatever the client
Customer
needs,
needs.
whatever they need.
Okay.
If they're okay with new construction in a certain area, then that's what works for them. But if they want a rancho where they can
Land.
bring their toys, then a new construction
That's right.
in a subdivision probably doesn't work for them.
Correct.
So it just depends
Correct.
on the client.
Okay. So it's all about the client's needs, right?
Yeah.
I think we'll focus on that. So right now the market is shifted. Rates really high. We know that. Values. Do you guys think values are going to be coming down? property. Like, well, I'm going to wait till the market crashes. That's actually myth number 6. I don't even call that a myth. I don't even want to call it something else. But I've heard that the market's going to crash, and I'm going to wait to buy. I want to get your professional input on that.
Well, they said that the market was going to crash for COVID in 2020,
Right.
and we saw what happened there.
Right.
So I don't think anybody can really predict something like that happening. And I strongly feel that any time that we are in any kind of financial crisis, the United States covers real estate because so many wealthy people are invested in real estate. So it's, although they're looking out for us, they're also looking out for themselves and their investments.
Right. Any input on that, guys?
Well, I worked at the company that was the cause of the 2008 crash.
Well, there was a lot of companies.
You caused it?
There was one in particular.
Okay. You can mention, it's fine. They're not here anymore.
They're not. So countrywide home loans, yeah.
They're not here anymore.
So we would refer all these subprime loans, and it was crazy. And so whenever people talk about, oh, foreclosures are going to go through the roof, the market's going to crash, I was there when the market crashed, and I see the huge difference in, before they were just giving out mortgages. I mean, you had a PIN, you sign here, you can get $1 million house. And now it's so much more difficult. Like you were saying earlier, you verify assets. You need to make sure that they're credit ready, their debt to income ratio is good. Are there going to be foreclosures? Yes, right, that happens. But as far as the market crashing, I mean, I don't see it because I don't see us just handing out loans to people like we did before.
Right.
Where people we knew were not qualified,
Right.
and we just, wanted the deal,
Right.
So
I was in that era, so I know.
was it you?
Wasn't me. So, which is good. So, because I'm still here.
Angelo Mazzillo, he just passed away.
Wonder where he's going.
His little orange skin.
Well, I wonder where he's going.
Yeah, his son worked for the company for a long time after that. So yeah, I mean these are very real people that were very, very greedy, and they would the pay option ARM loans. You get into $1 million house, literally paying $1,000 a month, and not knowing that your balance was going up higher, and then you were underwater. Your property was not worth what you owed.
Right.
I mean, it was terrible, and I just don't see those loans. Maybe I'm oblivious to them. Maybe they are still out there. I just don't see them. I don't think.
Well, I can tell you pretty much what we're referring to. Those who don't know, perhaps they don't know. Subprime lending was what it was called back then. Again, you say the word mortgage, you got a mortgage.
Right.
That was backwards, and it was, you said it, greed. There was no other way around it. There's no other word that explains it. It was just greed. Not listening to the client, just a number, trying to make more money. Look what that got us. Right. So the shift is, well, we want to make sure that whenever we offer a loan, now there are something very similar to subprime. It's called non-QM. That's your I-10 loan. That's your bank statement loan.
VOEs.
Those are the loans that don't require any verification of actual income. But they're offered differently. You have to qualify for it.
Right.
You have to put a larger down payment. You have to have a great credit score. So at least you have some skin in the game to be able to qualify for it. Do I offer those? Very selectively, depending on the client's needs. Because they need to know, and even back then, they need to know what they're getting themselves into. It's not a number, right? So I think that's a big difference, that a lot of the people are like, look, if you're doing that, you're doing it wrong. That's what got us in trouble the last time.
Right.
The market's not going to crash because a lot of people don't know this. The majority of the houses that went into foreclosure were not primary residences. They were investment properties. What that means is there were wealthy individuals that owned maybe 50, 60 investment properties. When they realized that, and they got all these customers in there through pay option ARMs, or they bought the houses through pay option, really low qualifications to get into these mortgages. When the values of the properties are going under, they just let them go. And then they took a write-off as a loss on their tax returns. But it wasn't the primary residence. So Bear Stearns, for example, right? They were part of a different company. They went in because their portfolio, they had so many of these investors in their portfolio, they couldn't accept it. And that's where they went under. Same thing with Washington Mutual. Okay, the company's no longer around anymore, right? So I tell clients, that's the ship has changed because now the government realized like we can't allow it to happen anymore. Too many people get hurt. It's economically not worth it. We need to make sure that whenever we do a non-QM loan, that the client puts more money down, that they qualify for it, and that we're not offering it to somebody, hey, this is your first time buyer. No, that's not, there's other ways that we can talk to you to help you get into that. Do you guys agree? And that's, I think the biggest thing is putting them first, finding out what they need. You know, whenever I have a client that comes to John, I need a realtor. I know who to talk to. And like, if you want anyone, you want to know the best realtors, I know them because they'll listen to you. They just won't tell you, they'll listen to you. I think that's the difference between, even in my world as a lender, am I listening to my clients' needs? You know, again, what can we do to help make their life better? Either through the NAHREP Association, through the Chamber, Greater North Texas Hispanic Chamber of Commerce. Those are goals of mine that I want to make sure, and even through my humble little show, to the people, the audience gets to ask questions. It's what you don't know that hurts you, you know? I teach a class for realtors, what not to do in your first year in real estate.
What's the number one thing not to do?
What not to do? You got to pick the right broker. Don't pick the wrong broker.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Don't buy a Mercedes with your first transaction.
Yeah. You guys should write a book too. I'm sure you've been doing this long enough. Let me ask you this as we're on the topic. And I know you guys are friends, right? But what do now you guys are broker owners, right? What's the quality you look for when you want to attract a new agent to your respective broker shops? And Cindy as well, like you want, I don't know if you work with a team.
Yeah, so I do want to preface this by saying that these two ladies are the perfect people to ask that question to because they're very selective in who they, bring on their team. And so I think this is good. That's going to be a good conversation.
So, I'm going to say this. That's where you start first. You always ditto. That's not ditto.
I think, and I always say this, and I say real estate is sexy. People like, ooh, I've never met anybody in any profession that when I say I'm in real estate, that they're not in, oh, I want to be in it too. Doctors, lawyers, everybody wants to be in real estate. And you see the good part and you see the fun part and everybody's celebrating because we're closing. They don't see the part where we're like, oh my God, you're on the line. We need to close tomorrow, but this is going on. So can you handle that pressure?
On fire.
Yeah, it's great, and it's you're helping people and stuff. But can you handle the pressure? And can you handle also like not having? Nobody's going to tell you what to do every day. Right. Are you going to be able to organize your life to be successful?
It's your own business.
It doesn't come by itself. You have to do the work.
You
do the work. Then hopefully the money will, or the closings will follow. And I think that I definitely tell them now also, and I think Gaby does the same, is like educating people, like in your marketing also. You're in charge of your marketing. You're in charge of what you need to do and how you're going to bring in your clients. And that's an everyday, all day thing. And also just like knowing what you're doing, knowing what you're talking about. And we talk about over educating the client too, like, we need to tell, sometimes it's too much information, but I'd rather give them too much information than say, oh, well, you didn't tell me that. Right. I'd rather them be well informed and what they're doing. And so when you come on with us, knowing that you're going to get a mentor, but you have to come to training. You have to know what you're doing because then you're a liability to me.
Okay.
So.
Good.
For me, it's very important that my core values match their core values.
Okay, which one?
To be honest, to want to help people, to have a genuine passion for helping people, and to be, our fiduciary duty to the client, because if you're getting into real estate and you want to be number one and you want to make so much money and you don't care who you hurt to get there, I don't want you on my team.
Good.
I don't care what my numbers look like. I don't want you on my team.
I'm so glad to hear that.
So definitely have integrity and, be willing to do whatever it takes to gain the knowledge and the education to be the best agent to help your clients. And then also to be willing to invest in your own business. There's agents that will call me and say, oh, my broker this, and And I say, okay, well, are you showing them to trainings? No. And have you bought open house signs? Well, no. Well, if you're not willing to invest $50 in your own business, are you in the right business? You know, so I think just having those hard conversations up front and setting expectations, what they expect from me and then what I expect from them. And sometimes it's not a match. And when it's not, I'm always happy to refer them to another brokerage, you know. So I think we've learned to not just say yes to everybody, right?
Yeah.
So you don't send us yours to her.
That's what I was going to say.
Right?
What's that?
The nose you don't send to her.
Depends.
Sometimes, I mean, they are a better fit, not because, you know, like, for example, if they they're closer to Dallas. I don't have a Dallas office, but Desirae does. So sometimes they are, you know, or if they want to learn more about a certain thing, I may not have the knowledge of it. I'm sorry, but Desirae or City might. So their brokerages might be better. So I think just not feeling like I want everyone to come to me. Like if it's a better fit for somebody else, then that's who they should be with.
Y'all's history precedes itself. I know this already. And I have to ask the question, but you guys do have a great reputation of being great mentors, leaders, and you're always available. That's what I always hear that. So I would be fair to say before, even in my world, in the lending, with the rates being so low that everybody was buying, right? It was just crazy numbers, right? A lot of people left the business, both on the real estate side and on the mortgage side, because they were order takers. And I'm a big believer. I go, look, now the people that get into this business, or the ones that have been in it, know their job. We're not just picking up the phone, we're actually marketing. We're showing you the reason why we're the best realtor. We're showing you the reason why we're the best broker shop. We're showing you the reason why we're the best lender, because I'm able to give you solutions, alternate solutions. You're able to show your marketing to a seller, correct? That you differentiate from somebody else. That you can give them top dollar for the sale of their home. Within reason, obviously, right? It's got a caveat on that. But I think too many people got into this business just to get it. I heard it's real easy. Well, it was because you were just picking up the phone. A lot of my partners that were doing the refis, that died, and they don't know how to market themselves. They don't know how to offer solutions. They don't know how to do work with first time buyers, down payment assistance programs, let alone non-QM products, right? And I think that's the key. That in our world, we're always, the only constant is change, right? Everything's going to change no matter what, even though I hate change. It is what it is, right? But you have to evolve with it, right? But the one thing that doesn't change is the need to be professional, to your core values, say a lot to you about honesty, right? And putting the client first, which so many people do not do. I can personally say every time y'all's chapter is my favorite. For the Fort Worth. I'm not just saying that.
We're here.
I'm not just saying that because you throw the best parties. But you guys do a lot for what's available in the community. Along with the chamber, we're always really partnering up and what we can do next. You know, what are the next things that we can offer our clients? What are the next things that we can do to collaborate with our partners? How can we make them shine? Whenever I showcase y'all on my show, because I know I want somebody else that's looking at this live who didn't know who to go to. They're going to reach out to you. You know what? I saw you on the show. I want to make sure that I get the right individual broker representing me. If you're looking to get into real estate, there's no better group here. I would recommend reaching out to them. And I just want to close. Just thank you so much from the bottom of my heart, honestly, that I consider you allies in our world, friends, if that's nice to say. And I just really thank you so much for continuously doing what you're doing, for your work, your philanthropy work, for the chapter, the NAHREP chapter Fort Worth. And I want to hear good stories. I know that's going to continue. And if I can ever be of service, any of you guys need to hear more about buying or selling, just reach out to me. We've been scrolling a little bit of information. But if you want to know where the best brokers are, where best title companies are, even some of the builders, come with me and we'll introduce you. That's all we can guarantee. We'll make the right introduction to the right individual. Ladies, I want to thank you personally.
Thank you for having
Thank you for
us.
having us. Yes.
Desirae, thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right.
This wasn't as painful. Do you keep smiling until it's going?
I think it's over. Yeah. Andrew? Yeah.